Now, speaking of potential war with Gaza, in a very rare move, the IDF Chief of Staff is now crowdsourcing military strategy. Lieutenant General Aviv Kohavi has just asked 40,000 career soldiers what their recommendations for dealing with Gaza are, and all of their answers are going to be going into a database called the Startup Insights, where they'll then be sorted out and presented to Army brass. Here now, with their own answers, we're joined by Senior Security and Military Analyst Colonel Olivier Rafowicz and Dr. Martin Sherman, the founder and Executive Director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies. Thank you so much for coming in. All right, so what is your answer to Kohavi's question? How would you deal with the threat from Gaza?
Well, first of all, I say it might be a bit disturbing to learn that the Chief of Staff doesn't really have his own strategy and has to ask a whole lot of people what to do. But putting that aside, it depends on the long-term view. I don't really think it's a military question, because I assume that the IDF can perform or can execute virtually any military operation that it's given. The question is, what's the long run? What do you see? What's going to be in Gaza in 20 years' time? People say we need a victory in Gaza, but what does that mean for the Hamas to raise a white flag, and then what? And as I've said before, there is only one solution for Gaza, which is encapsulated in a dictum. There will either be Arabs in Gaza or Jews in the Negev. There won't be both. The long-term solution for Gaza must be incentivized immigration to move the hostile Arab population to third-party countries, not third world, third-party countries, where they can find a more secure, prosperous life for themselves.
The question is whether or not they would accept that.
Of course they would. Yeah. No, that's not a question. That's really not a question, because if you look at the polls, you'll see there is a huge desire to leave Gaza, and the only thing that is preventing a massive exodus from Gaza today is money or the lack thereof.
All right, let's hear your take.
Yeah, first of all, I think it's very interesting to see why General Kohavi did this move.
Right.
And he's going to ask 40,000 soldiers and officers about what should be or could be done or should be done in the Gaza Strip. The issue is very interesting, because by doing
that's worrying. That's worrying.
No, don't be worried. Don't be worried. He's a very clever man. I know him personally. He's a very clever man. And this move, I think, is very interesting, sir. Why? Because he is looking for new ways, new things, maybe new boxes to be opened. Because, in the army, like in every army in the world, people are most of the time afraid to express their opinion because it is an army.
Right.
Here there is a new move, which is maybe unique in the world, where the Chief of General Staff, facing a strategic war threat, is trying to discuss, to have like a brainstorming on a very large scale with officers, very young officers, by the way, who have been called to the army after the Gaza issue. So they don't know Gaza.
Well, of course, the question here is whether or not that advice will be implemented, right?
No, but I mean, it's not only advice. It's to try to think outside of the box, to think differently. Because in this situation, like you just mentioned, it is very complicated. And it's not just to use bomb or to use artillery or to use tanks or to use infantry and just in one day, in 1 week, it's over. It's not over, because it's a political, a military, and a huge quagmire. And because we are not alone in this situation, I think it's a big mistake, to my opinion, sir, to see Gaza problem as a unique, only Israeli problem. It's not an Israeli problem. It's a regional, it's a worldwide problem.
So what are the 40,000? What are the 40,000 soldiers going to contribute to the world problem?
But I think that to pinpoint that Israel has to do so and so makes Israel directly responsible for the good and for the bad. And then we are going to be accused again of what will be the output of that concerning Gaza. I think it's very interesting today, once, to ask ourselves, Israeli military and political people, what do we want to do with Gaza? Then to try to the political and to the diplomatic channels to see with other countries.
What does that mean operationally? What does that mean operationally? The problem is not an operational problem in Gaza. If you think that Gaza is a strategic problem for Israel, we're in big trouble. Because of the great mighty IDF with the Air Force and Navy and artillery, etc., sees a lightly armed militia of a few tens of thousands combatants as a strategic problem, we're in trouble. The question is, What do you think is going to be in Gaza in 20 years' time?
I'm not going to take...
No, because we can talk about being complicated and diplomatic.
We don't think in Israel, in no way, we never think, we never talk, we never even plan in the next 20 years. We plan in the next week, next month. There is no possibility. No, it's not a problem. It is a real political situation. We cannot think, unfortunately, in a 20 years' time. We have to think tomorrow. Like what happened yesterday night. Yesterday night, only one terrorist from Gaza went out and wounded 3 soldiers. It could have been like 3 killed, or maybe 10 civilians killed. It was just...
just proves my point.
It was just no, but I mean, we have to deal with Gaza right now on a strictly tactical, macro-tactical, and unfortunately...
Let me ask you a question. What surprising, brilliant idea could you think that's going to emerge from this crowdsourcing of 40,000? What are they going to say? You know, the toolbox is more or less known. The question is now, which tools you want to use?
All right. Well, unfortunately, we don't have time to answer that question.
By the way, there is no answer for now. We have to wait.
There is no answer for now. It will be interesting, though, to hear what these young men and women have to say. Thank you both for joining us.